Aloha, everybody. God bless you, and welcome to our live today. We are so excited. Today we have two great guests with us, as you can see already, and I can't wait to just get into our conversation today. We're going to be talking about leadership, and as you know, on Wednesdays we love to focus on talking about leadership because we believe that we're in a season where we want to expand and we want to accelerate the expansion, and to do that, what better way to do that than raising up leaders? And so the way you raise up leaders is one of the ways you raise up leaders is by hanging around leaders and getting discipled by leaders and equipped by leaders. So we have two great ones. They are both from the Victorville Church. Pastor Alex is he's the senior pastor of the Victorville Church. He also is the regional pastor of the High Desert region. And then we also have Paulie with us. He's the G.A.N.G regional for the High Desert region. And so we're just so excited to have both of them. And recently they had meetings in Mexico. And then right after that, there was people got invited to go over to the country of Panama, where there's a base church that has been established there. And they were there. And so they're going to tell us they had times with Pastor Sonny, and Sister Julie was there, and so they had, like, a couple of weeks of being just together amongst greatness, and their church, their Victorville, is one of my favorite churches. Just to tell you a little bit about Pastor Alex, he's a good friend of mine. I love him very much. I love him and I respect him very much. We do ministry together. We've known each other for years. We've known each other for a good 30 years. We both knew each other when we were super skinny, 100 pounds ago, right? We both have four daughters and a son, right? And we both are Laker fans. Let's go, So we have a lot in common, and I'm so excited just to pick his brain because too, I look at him. He's a great preacher and teacher and trainer, a great discipler. Great at so many different areas. And if you're watching online right now, feel free to throw some questions on in the comment area, and maybe we'll be able to address them and take advantage of just being instilled in by just these two men of God that are with us. And Pastor Alex, is just a blessing to have you, my friend. Love you very much, and let us know, Pastor Alex, how have you been? Tell us how it's been. And by the way, if you're watching right now, we want to encourage you to share, so others could grow and learn. Pastor Alex, the question we wanted to ask you, sir, was what did you get from regionals in Panama? How was it?
Oh, wow. So much to share. But first, let me start by saying thank you, Pastor Tony, for having us. You mentioned everything, the history that we have, and I think there's mutual love and respect, from us, my wife and I, and our family to yours, your beautiful church. And just let me just say this, man. Hawaii, Vio Hawaii, is one of the most committed churches within All Victory Outreach. And the reason that I say that is every time we have conference or conventions or anything of that nature, you see that Hawaii flies all the way. I don't know how many miles it is. It's at least a 5-hour flight. I know that. But you guys are an inspiration to all of us. And I just wanted to tell you guys that you guys are such a great church. And you people there, the people of the Hawaii church, the Honolulu church, love your pastors and back them up. And you guys do, but you guys are such an inspiration, man. We love you guys. And you guys are one of my favorite churches as well. Can't wait to go spend some time with you guys real soon. Amen. But man, we had so much, we have so much to share, so much that took place. We were actually there in the regionals the first or the second week of January. And then we literally came back for one day. We flew back on a Saturday night. I preached Sunday morning, and then the next day, Monday, we flew out back to Panama or to Panama. But one of the things that I'm just so so really excited about is this base concept that Pastor Sonny has been working with over the last several years, especially there in Panama and Guadalajara. And this is my second time. This was my second time in Panama. I was there for the grand opening in August, but to see the acceleration, we're talking about this is a time of acceleration. I mean, this church in 5 years, there was about 700 people, probably more, on Sunday morning. And the quality of the church and just its infancy, 5 years. I want you guys to wrap your minds around that. In five
Yeah.
years, this church is on the verge of becoming a mega church. And you can sense it, you can feel it, the quality of ministry, the quality of the people that the church there in Panama is reaching, the quality of everything. I mean, it's a next level stuff. And we went there and we learned so much, that we want to, start to apply in our church. But one of the main things that, that I left with is the concept, this concept of a base church. And while we were there in at the regional meetings, the very first night, Pastor Sonny shared, and what he did is he did something that I've never seen him do before. He showed old videos of the crusades that we've had in the past, crusades that we've had in different countries where arenas filled with people. I mean, thousands upon thousands of people. We went into different cities and did crusades for a month. Nikki Cruises came and drawn thousands. But the sad thing is that a lot of those cities that we went into with those crusades, the churches weren't ready for that, to reap the harvest. And because of that, it was like we were ahead of we weren't ready yet. Our strategy wasn't ready. And Pastor Sonny recognizes that now. And I believe I heard Tim say we kind of put the cart in front of the horse. We went in there strong. We went in there with the crusade, but the church that were left behind weren't strong enough yet to be able to reap the harvest. But now, even in Panama, if we were to do a major crusade, the way we have in the past, with drawing thousands at an arena, I really believe that the Panama church will go from where it's at now to mega overnight, because the infrastructure is in place to be able to reap that harvest. And so it was just mind blowing to see the strategy. Now if we were to do that, and now you see Nikki Cruz. Nikki Cruz was a big part of the regionals. He had a night where he shared, and also later on in the week there was a question and answer panel. And Nikki Cruz was a very big part of our regionals this year. And what I sense is that Pastor Sonny is looking again to use Nikki Cruz to be able to crack open these cities. And now we're ready. Now we're ready for that church. If Panama right now is already a 700 members strong, 700 members strong, can you imagine? And with all the infrastructure, everything in place, the UTC, the Third Wave Campus, a team of pastors, not just a pastor and a team of pastors. Also, the men's home. We went to visit the men's home, beautiful men's home, 30, 40 men within the home. They have a women's home. They have a specialist home where some of the specialists live. I mean, they're ready. They're ready to be able to reap a harvest. So the strategy is so different than what we're accustomed to. We're accustomed to going into a city, just a small team, and let's just open a men's home or a women's home and just build. But we realize that takes years. And
Yeah. So, Pastor Alex, let me ask you. Okay, so when you talk about kind of like not the old way of doing it, when you look at the history, right? You look at some of the ways the pioneers went out. They seem to have gone out like just them and their wives and their children, right? And then later on, they would do like you said, crusades and things like that. A little, and then probably our generation, we went with a team, but not like high caliber team members, right? It would be like a team, but maybe like some, someone from the gang, but not a gang leader, but just maybe, a disciple that was young, maybe a graduate from the home or someone still in the home, and you kind of go with a team like that. And the more seasoned ones are the couples. And then, you do things like crusades. Crusades seem to have their place, so they'll know about the ministry. But what you're saying now is is when you say putting the cart before the horse, are you saying that look, we're still going to saturate the city with evangelism and the gospel, but you're saying let's have some strong leaders in place within the church that could handle the harvest? Is that what you think you're talking about?
Yeah, well, it seems, of course, like we know, we saw the infancy of Panama just from afar through social media, but right away they started, they pioneered the work, but they pioneered with a team of pastors and leaders that were already up to speed, that were recruited from different churches in Latin America and even here in the U.S. So you saw that already they started with strong leadership. And then from there, you could see again, I'm going to mention this, the quality of ministry, the quality. Now, I know they started in a small building 5 years ago, and then a couple of years later, they went into like a 300 seater building. They started from small, then like a 300 seater, but I mean, the quality that they had was already, another level. The screens, the worship, the lighting, the social media, what happened, and the location. I mean, that the second building I'm talking, not the building they're in now, but the second building was pretty much in the city, right in the city, the heart of the city, from what I remember. And they packed out, they maximized the building, and they went not just one service, not just double services, but they went into three services, and they packed out that building. And then now, just recently, 6 months ago, they went into this big building right on the coast, and the location is one of the best locations that you can have there in Panama. But just the quality and the leadership, the quality is in place, and then the type of people that they're attracting is tremendous. The quality of the people. I don't know what happened to Pastor Tony. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, sorry, my internet was tripping over here. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, Paulie, tell us, what did you get from you're when I see you, you're part of the third wave. You also come. A lot of people may not know, but you come from a rich history. I believe. Let us know too about your grandfather. And you're a legit third waver. Because you have that pioneering. You come from the pioneering. You're a breed of that pioneering generation. And so it's great because I believe you just became a G.A.N.G regional recently, right? And so tell us a little bit about that and how and what you got from your time there at the leadership retreat there in Mexico.
And I just want to say aloha to the Hawaii family. Thank you guys for having us today. And it was just great. I mean, being in Panama, being able to see this new base concept. One thing they were mentioning is that this base concept, this is bred out of the third wave. So in essence, we take it as ours and our responsibility. And speaking on, you were talking about history and stuff with my family and everything. My grandfather was one of the very first members of Victory Outreach. He's one of the first Abraham generation. And hearing his stories growing up of the way church planting was done, the way they took cities, they packed up their cars, they packed up their families, and they literally just went on faith. They drove wherever they went. I remember my grandparents, they spent times in Mexico, in the hills of Mexico, doing missionary work. There was no United We Can. There was no supports being sent. All they had was just a vision from God, and they had faith, and they stepped out. And being able to see them go and take cities and impact lives with just what they had is awesome. But now God has given us, in the third wave, he's given us a brand new model and a way to take cities, and not only to take cities, but to take nations. Through this base concept and through these base churches, we're going to be able to unlock nations. Panama right there, it's going to be a strong base church. It's going to impact Panama, but they're saying that it's the key, and it's going to be opening up the doors to Brazil, to Honduras, to El Salvador, to all of these other cities that and countries and nations that we haven't yet impacted the way we can. And so It was a privilege being able to see it, being able to be around the new wave, the third wave, the new leadership, Pastor Ryan Arganzoni, Kuklinski, being around the pastor's kids. And it's funny because just like myself, I'm a legacy of this vision, seeing other legacies of this vision, like Pastor Ryan, his grandfather being Pastor Sonny. It's a generational thing. Generational leaders are rising up out of our bloodlines, and we're taking our place. And so it was beautiful to see this base church, this base concept. One thing I know that separates these base churches is what they have to offer, what they have to offer there within the city or within the country. I know what separates a regular church plant from a base church is that they have the UTCs and they have the third wave campus, the leadership campus. And like Pastor Alex was saying, before they would send a pastor with, maybe a couple of mid-level leaders or, a couple of leaders that, are still fresh. But now they're sending what's called specialists. And these specialists are going with a sharp skill. They're going prepared, knowing what they do, sharp in music, sharp in whatever their area of ministry is, evangelism, children's ministry, so that when they get there, it's not like a pioneering trying to figure out what to do, how to build it, but they already have a resume of how to build these ministries and how to, and so that's what separates these base churches. And being there in Panama, the word I can think of right now is just reference. These base churches are going to be a strong reference to what our churches could become and will become. Pastor Sonny was telling us, before you leave this conference, you got to leave with a mega mentality. And we came back, I know myself and Pastor Alex came back with that mega mentality, that not that, hopefully we become like, no, we're going to become one of these mega churches. We're going to become like one of these base churches. And, it's going to be our point of reference. I know for myself, that's going to be my point of reference. I'm shooting for what the base churches are doing with Panama, with Guadalajara, with Third Wave LA, with these new base churches that they're going to be opening up there in Brazil, there in Amsterdam. And it's an exciting time right now for the third wave, because like I said before, this is ours. This is ours. And not to exclude the Joshua or the Abraham generation, but this is our thing that we're leading. The third wave is leading, and we're able to do it all together as one big army and one big family. And so it was
Paulie,
exciting down there.
Paulie, could I ask you, how long have you been saved now?
I've been saved now for, I got saved in 2004.
Okay,
so I believe, was that?
So do you feel like, did you feel called to take a city, or did you feel called to like help build a base at your local church? What were some things that you kind of felt along the way in your walk with God?
Now, Pastor, this is interesting because being, I technically wasn't a PK, but I had grandparents that were pastors. But growing up around them and seeing the struggle that they went through, I'll be honest, it kind of turned me off to being a pastor one day and to taking a city, because I seen the struggles that you guys go through. The struggles, the hardship. I seen, how hard it is to build a church, to build a team, to have just you and your family, and for me personally, I did not feel that calling to take a city. It kind of scared me and pushed me away. But coming now to seeing this new concept and this new way of taking cities, I believe now I feel the calling to be a team member. I could be a team member because now I can get what I'm good at. I can get my skill. I can get whatever specialist area I'm in, and I can go and complement a team, and we can take a city together with a team of pastors or a team of evangelists or a team of leaders, not just one. And so
that's actually why, that's part of the reason why I was asking you that, is because when me and your Pastor Alex, were being raised in the Lord, we came young to God also. We were both 16 years old. I was 16. Pastor Alex was 16 also. And as a matter of fact, I have a picture that I always show people, right? When I'm with Pastor Alex, I show people, not just any day. But this is us when we were 16 years old right there, 17 years old. That's me in the middle holding my wife right there. And that's Pastor Alex to the left. And that's a guy from Hazard, Robert Shadow from Hazard. He passed away. But that was us right there. And we went through the same home. And so for us, we would see the older generation, we saw them come in, they were treasures, they were gang members, drug addicts. We saw them being prayed for and launched out on the stage, and then we would kind of say, man, if they could do it, we could do it. And we kind of went up the ranks and had a desire to go take a city for God one day. But you're right. I noticed that this third wave concept, because you're not the only one that was probably scared from the third wave or second generation Christians that maybe feared answering the call. They had a greater understanding of probably the price than we did. We didn't have an understanding of the price. We didn't come from Christian backgrounds or have Christian grandparents or anything like that. So with you guys, it's like you guys really kind of count the cost. We know PKs and church kids that they know the price to ministry before they're even saved. They're not even saved, and they're like, man, if I get saved, they're gonna want me to be like my dad, and and it's like us. We didn't know nothing about that, nothing about Christianity, and so I love the way you're right. It has made your generation very excited for ministry, and I love that. And speaking as a Joshua, I know that the Joshua generation, we are excited for you guys. We're like, yes, let's do it. Pastor Alex, how do you feel, with the third wave, and how do you, I want to show you a picture, Pastor Alex, that I saw you post right here. I'm going to show you this picture right here. And that's you guys there in Mexico. I see Pastor Rick there towards the left, Pastor Pepe there, Pastor Abel's there. I see yourself being talked to by Pastor Sonny. Tell us about that. I mean, what kind of nuggets was he instilling with you guys? That's beautiful to be able to have time with the apostle right there.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, we had a lot of time like that, not only there at the regionals. I would catch him in the lobby and just sit next to him, and then him just pouring into us, and just, one thing that he was really trying to get to us, I think right there, especially what we're talking about, he was almost trying to explain himself why he's doing, and he owes us no explanation. He was saying, I have these young guys around me because they're the influencers right now. Pastor Ryan, he's over the gang. Pastor Izzy, he's over all the international, and we understand. I understand what he's doing. He's pouring into them, and one thing that he wants us, the Joshua generation, to understand is that our time has not passed. He wants us to be able to partner with him and to buy into what he's doing, because it's working. It's working. There's results. You cannot argue with results. And one of the things that the first night when he shared, he did the altar call. And of course, I went to the altar and he was addressing the Joshua generation. And one thing that he said is that, man, I need you. If there was ever a time that I need the Joshua generation, it's right now, to understand what I'm doing, to understand why I'm doing it. And to know that your time is not we're all in this wave together, all three waves. The pioneer generation, Pastor Sonny's still there, we're still here, we haven't gone anywhere, and also serving as coaches to the younger ones as well, and learning from them. Pastor Sonny's learning from the third wavers. Pastor Sonny himself is saying, I'm still learning as I go along. I'm still learning, and there's a lot that we can learn from each other. And it really, like when he said that at the altar, like when he looked at us and he told, I'm depending on you guys. At that point, I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't planning on going to Panama yet. I don't know, because I already knew the quick turnaround. But when he said that, I said, I got to be there. I have to be there, because I want to see this ministry go to new heights. I want my ministry to go to new heights. And in order to do that, I have to get unstuck. I have to get out of my comfort zone, and I have to be willing to learn and unlearn some things, because we have been, when we went out, there was a model that we followed. Like you mentioned, there was a model that we looked at, a couple, feeling the call of God, grateful, willing to do whatever. and one day getting prayed for at World Conference. That was the, man, I'm going to get launched out. And we've experienced that, and it's great. It was a great thing. But the game has changed. The rules of the game have changed. And one thing that Pastor Tom Vasquez, Elder Tom, shared in his message, he talked about how David, as a young boy, changed the game, because there were thousands of soldiers in the valley in that battle when Goliath was taunting the army of Israel. There was thousands upon thousands of soldiers who thought the same thing. I can only beat Goliath with the sword. I can only beat him with a sword. But yet David changed the rules of the game. And he was the only one that stood up, and he beat the giant with a sling. What was his point? The point is that the game has changed. The rules of the game have changed. We don't have to go out, just me and my wife and a team, and go and just pay the price and open up the men's home and pray that God will grow us, and in 15 years we'll have a big ministry. It doesn't have to happen that way anymore. The game has changed. It reminds me, I know you're a NBA fan. We're Laker fans, big time. But we see a player today in today's game that changed the game, and his name's Steph Curry. He changed the game. If you watch NBA game today, it's nothing but three-point shooting, right? And he changed the game, and it's a more exciting game, some say, because of that. But he changed the rules of the game. Well, Pastor Sonny and this third wave generation are changing the rules of the game. It doesn't have to be the way it's always been. The game.
I have a question. I have a question based off an observation that I made. I noticed that, see, Pastor Rick, right? You're fruit of Pastor Rick. You're a spiritual son of Pastor Rick.
Yes, sir.
I noticed that Gabe is a key player in the third wave, who's fruit from Pastor Rick. I noticed that also even Felipe is a key person in this third wave with the homes. He's I look at him like that also. And not just him, but even, there's others that are key players in this third wave. Pastor Doug, who's in Amsterdam, is helping with the base in Amsterdam. Fruit from Pastor Rick. I mean, that's a lot of fruit that's now leaders of in this third wave movement. That's spiritual fruit from Pastor Rick. How is it that he worked with all you guys to produce such high caliber fruit? Because we don't want to just produce fruit here in the islands. We want to produce high caliber fruit. And I saw a picture. I saw a picture. This is some of you guys there. I want to say I believe this was Panama.
Yeah.
And this is some spiritual sons right there. You see Pastor Doug there. You see even Pastor Pepe, who's a pastor. Also, not just that picture, but I also saw this picture right here. You see more spiritual sons that are in regional positions, right?
These are regional leaders here.
Spanish ministry. So how is it that Pastor Rick has not just been fruitful, but high caliber fruit such as you guys?
Yeah, well, I think it's the the law of reproduction. You reproduce who you are, and Pastor Rick is a man of God. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of prayer. He's a man that has modeled all these things, the leadership traits that a great leader should have. He's a world-class leader, and he has been connected straight to Pastor Sonny for all these years. As long as I have known Pastor Rick, which is probably 30 years. I got saved in 1992, and I started going to the church at the end of 1992 in San Bernardino. As long as I've known Pastor Rick, he has been connected to Pastor Sonny. When he was in Chicago, he pioneered the work in Chicago in the mid-'80s. Then he came back to San Bernardino in the late 80s, I believe 89, around there. But from the very beginning, what he did was right away get connected to the mother church in La Puente. And he started taking his leaders. He would tell me on Sunday nights he wouldn't have a service, so he'd take all his leaders, his core leadership, and take them to the mother church. And then that's where Pastor Sonny saw him and started pulling him in. And one thing that Pastor Rick, you got to remember, Pastor Rick comes from a high caliber leader as well, Pastor Cal Almaraz, the one that pioneered the work in San Bernardino. And one thing that Pastor Cal instilled in Pastor Rick and Pastor Rick instilled in us was that the San Bernardino Church was there to always back up the Arganzoni family. That was the calling of the San Bernardino Church. And also to be a sending church, to be a church that sent. We were going over, and Pastor Rick is so like, Pastor Rick doesn't talk about stuff like how many churches he sent out. He's very humble. Like he doesn't even talk about it, but we talk about it. His sons, we sit and we count. I had a list. I think I counted like 21 churches that Pastor Rick has sent.
Wow.
Has been a part of sending, or has sent directly, or he has been actually sent. He sent himself to Chicago this last time, when he sent works out. But he loves God. Number one, he's a man of God. He loves the Lord, and he's showing that through his exampleship, his prayer life, his intensity, his integrity, but also he loves the vision. He loves the vision of Victory Outreach, and he loves Pastor Sonny. And now, as sons, his sons, we're able to help, Pastor Sonny, in any way that we can, and we're excited, man. And that's in a short, that's how he's been able to reproduce. It's because of who he is as a man of God. He's been able to reproduce that. And I've learned. I wasn't always close. For 18 years, I was in San Bernardino. I wasn't really always close. To the end, I was, but I studied Pastor Rick. I knew Pastor Rick. Like, I studied him. I was a student of ministry, and I paid attention to how he did things and why he did things. And I learned from him. And basically what I've done is, when I'm in my city, I always look back, and when I'm at a crossroads, what would Pastor Rick do here? Or what would Pastor Sonny do here? And we thank God we have points of references that we can look back at. And when we were in San Bernardino, we were at a height. Our church was breaking barriers. We were on our way to becoming a mega church. And then he launched. He began to release leaders, key leaders. I believe Pastor Rick in 2009, 2010 sent out 4 churches in 2 years. And that's a big time thing to do. He's
Pastor Alex, and us here in Hawaii, as you know, he's the one who had a heart for Hawaii to launch the church here in Hawaii. So we love him so much as the islands. We're so grateful for Pastor Rick, Sister Jeannie, and the region that I know now. Our region has grown, so it has split. Now you're a regional for the other half now, and Pastor Dell's a regional of our half. I was in a meeting with them earlier today. I was with Pastor Rick and Pastor Dell earlier in the meeting or in the morning. And so I have to get zoomed in. Of course, they're in person, but we love staying connected with them. Those are our dads in the faith, our uncles in the faith, and we love them so much. One last thing, and we'll let you go, Pastor. Okay, so when they talk about Panama, we've heard you see Panama, but in closing, what can we do? We're not in Panama, but what can we do, as a local church, to contribute to this overall vision? What in your thoughts, what would you say to Hawaii? Hawaii, if I was you guys, I would what would you do with that?
Yeah, I think that the Hawaii already is and has been contributing to this third wave. When we look at the pathways, the UTCs, the third wave campus, there's always a strong representation from your church, from Hawaii. And I think that you guys have been doing that already. And I think that's one of the main ways that every church within Victory Outreach can be a part of this. It's not going to end in Panama. Third Wave LA is in its infancy, and Third Wave LA is already operating like a mega church. They're already operating. The quality, I haven't been there, but I heard Pastor Chucky mentioning to me that when he went to Third Wave LA, it was only their third week of having services, about 6 months ago, about 5 months ago. And he said he felt like if he was in a conference, because of the quality, again, the quality of ministry, everything, the presentation, the image. He felt like that. Third Wave LA is getting ready to reap a big harvest. They're getting ready to reap a big harvest. There's 4 million people in LA. There's no shortage of sinners in LA.
Yeah.
And I really believe that they're going to get a breakthrough. And we've been able to be a part of that by we've sent students to the Third Wave campus, as well as you. I know you've done the same. We sent a worship leader. I sent my worship leader, Raylina, to go and help with the worship there. I released her to the Third Wave LA. I sent Stu, my keyboard player, my drummer, Adrian, the best that we have. I've sent my best to go
and then Pastor Alex, we're partnering together to do a work in OKC.
Yes.
Maybe tell them about that. How can they be involved in that? And
yeah,
about OKC.
Let me just say like this: don't sleep on OKC. Oklahoma City is a strategic city. People hear the name Oklahoma and they kind of like, oh, okay, that's just an Okie town, but it is a city with great potential. I believe that it could be a base one day in the heart of the nation, right in the heart of the nation, right in the middle of the nation. It's a city that is populated. There's over 1 million people in the Metroplex area. There's a need. It's multicultural. It's also there's a lot of young people there in the city, and and the people are open. The people are open. They respect God. It's in the middle of the Bible Belt of our country. In fact, they call it what did they call it? The buckle of the Bible
belt buckle.
Yeah, people respect the Lord. They respect the gospel. They're open to the gospel, and they're ready for something new. They're ready for Victory Outreach Church. They've never seen anything like Victory Outreach. So we're preparing a team right now. So if you want to be a part of a team and you're a leader that's built some ministry in your local church, we're not just accepting anybody. We want people that have built something. Make sure that you connect with me or Pastor Tony, Pastor Miller. There's several of us that are part of a church planting committee within our multi-region. And we went in October and we blitzed the city and we had a powerful time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Pastor Alex. Thank you, Paulie, so much just for being with us. We appreciate you both. And just thank you all for tuning in today. And we just got so much. Listen, we got a lot. Think mega, whatever ministry you're involved in, whatever church you're a part of, think mega, function quality, be team oriented, be close to your leaders, draw from them. Like he said, he's close to his pastor. Pastor Rick is close to his Pastor Sonny, and we just stay connected. And we're excited about the third wave. It's here. The wave is here. They're rising up from every church in Hawaii, in Victorville, in our churches in California, Latin America, and throughout the world, Africa, Amsterdam. The third wave is arising. So we want to be feeders to international moves of God. We want to be feeders to multi-regional moves of God. We want to be feeders to regional moves of God. We want to be feeders to the local move of God. So get involved. It starts there at your local church. That's where you're gonna use local church to see what you're made of, so you could grow as a leader. You got to take your city before you go take a city out somewhere else. So do that. We encourage you to do that. We love you guys. And Matt, can you close us out here?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say a lot of viewers are saying mahalos to Pastor Alex and Brother Paulie. I was able to go out to you guys to OKC and to see your work ethics. I know Brother Paulie was limping around the city of OKC, just really putting in work for the Lord. And to be connected with these type of people, it makes it doable that we're going to reach the world for Jesus. Amen. And so just like that, I want to encourage all the viewers to continue to stay connected. Tune in throughout the week. We have lives every single day, and we want you to stay connected. God is on the move, and we want you to be part of it. Another way that you can be part of it, not just tuning in every single week, but you can also give and be generous. There's a few different ways that you can give. You can give online at vohichurch.org, or you can use our PayPal, add give at vohichurch.org to your contacts, or you could also text the number on your screen to give to the Lord, or use the QR code. And just, what we want to do is we just want to collectively come together. They've been talking about that team concept. When we come together and we collectively put what we got for towards the ministry, we're going to be able to accomplish the task that God has before us. Amen. So we love you guys and stay connected. Amen.
Yep, and come check out our church every Sunday at 10 o'clock. We're in person and online, and then we have a 1 o'clock in-person service also. Listen, we love you guys once again. God bless you, Pastor Alex. God bless you,
Can I say
Paulie.
one thing? Can I say one thing before you
Yeah,
close?
definitely.
Remember, if you want to be a part of the vision, be a part of United We Can and raise money for Run for Hope. And that's another way to feed the vision and to
Come
help this.
on. Yes, be generous. And we have a vision that all of our church members, 100% United We Can members, everybody should join United We Can. You're part of this ministry. Join United We Can. We love you guys. God bless you. Aloha. God bless the High Desert region. Awesome region right there.